I always wondered why society is so unequal. Is it by chance or by design? As a physician, it's hard to ignore the number of people that die simply because they can't afford the things they need to live healthy lives. You must have noticed it too. The rich get richer while things generally get tighter for everyone else each passing year. At some point, I guess I just accepted it's just the way the world works. Then I came across this term, neoliberalism, and I understood. If you haven't come across this term yet, don't worry. It hasn't found its way into the dictionary yet for some reason. You see, in 1776, Adam Smith suggested that government interventions had a detrimental effect on economic growth, and the deregulation of trade would allow the invisible hand of the market to set prices and guide resource use. In other words, government is sloppy and inefficient, and if they would just allow the market to do what it wants, everyone would be happy. It seemed ridiculous at the time, so it was only under dire circumstances, in the stagnation that followed the Second World War, that many nations adopted this strategy in a desperate attempt to stimulate growth. The principles of neoliberalism are the rule of the market, deregulation, privatization, cutting expenditure on social services, and elimination of the concept of public good and replacing it with individual responsibility. The idea was to give money to the already rich as a way of stimulating economic growth, the assumption being that they would invest it in a productive capacity and create a windfall that would gradually trickle down to the rest of society. Well, it didn't. So what was the result? Today, the 85 richest people in the world have more combined wealth than the poorest 3.5 billion who have to survive on $2 or less a day. The world has not been this unequal since the 1920s. But inequality isn't just about starving to death. It's more complex than that. R.G. Wilkinson and his colleagues at the Equality Trust are showing that even in developed societies, the life expectancy is determined by the level of equality. So 1/3 of all deaths in the United States, approximately 884,000 deaths a year, are linked to inequality. Life expectancies in different social groups within countries can vary by as much as 28 years, and infant mortality rates by as much as 300%. 22,000 children die every day due to poverty. Now that cannot be fair. Nobel laureate Amartya Sen notes that the problem is seeing economic growth as an end rather than the means. He says, economic growth is important precisely because it can help people to lead better lives. But to take growth itself to be a fetishistic object of admiration is part of the problem. I don't think I have all the answers, but I believe I now understand the problem. I know that there has to be a better way. What do you think?